So I was in the kitchen getting a snack. I had the episode turned on, and then I heard the sounds of pod racing, and my jaw dropped. And I had like this huge grin on my face, and I ran to the TV. The Phantom Menace, honestly, a lot of people hate it, but honestly, I think that is my favorite Star Wars movie because it was the first one that I saw, and that was the first thing that I got into Star Wars with. So with the whole nostalgia, and I love that movie. And it wasn't pod racing, but it was Boonta Eve, and people were going crazy. They're celebrating, and they had like, just people racing around in the neighborhood. Sounded like pod racing, but it wasn't. But starting from that, it had a good start, man. This episode, the lady with the perm, the curly hair, I forgot her name. The one who works she's the mechanic, right? She was busy scamming some guy. Like, this episode started off strong, and it was strong throughout the entire episode. Definitely better than the last episode. And, by the way, remember last episode I said, whoa, the music is not hitting. It doesn't sound as good as the rest of the show prior, season 1 and 2. Apparently, they changed the composer. Ludwig isn't composing this season, so that's why. But I didn't have issues with the music this episode, so that's good. So this episode was pretty much Mando and Grogu heading over to the planet Mandalore so that he can take a bath in the mines, right? Honestly, dude, what was the point in episode 1? We go to this planet to get a droid that we don't use, and then in this episode, we're starting off where we honestly left off in last season. He has to go to Mandalore to get redemption. What was the point in last episode other than the fact that we now know, hey, remember guys, he needs to go to Mandalore, and guess what? He needs to bathe in the water, the living water. This has to have been done on purpose. Some biblical imagery, some Jesus imagery here, right? He is bathing in the living waters, and when he comes out, he's redeemed. That had to have been on purpose. That had to have been on purpose. Who came up with the idea? Who came up with the name, the living waters? The idea of being baptized in the living waters, coming out redeemed. That's some Jesus biblical imagery, if I've ever heard any, right there. So let's take it back a little bit. Grogu and Mando are on the way to Mandalore. And I love this, man. We got a little bit of this in the last episode, and in this episode again, we're getting Mando teaching Grogu. And he is referring to Grogu as like he's one of us. We're both foundlings together, and we're going to our home planet Mandalore. And he points out the planet that he was raised on, and they're going to Mandalore. And I don't know, man. I love seeing the two. And here's the other thing. Again, another thing that didn't need to have taken place. Why did they add a little pod section on the Naboo starfighter for Grogu? What, we used that thing like once or twice, and then now we got it replaced with an astromech? Like, what was the point of that? What was the point in modifying the ship so that, hey, Grogu gets his own little spot? That's cool, that's cute, and we're not going to make use of it. Literally, like, we used it, saw it probably on screen once or twice, and then being used, and we're not using it anymore. I mean, I like Grogu in the cockpit with Mando anyways, but I mean, like, what was the point? But man, Grogu is so cute. The expressions and everything is adorable. And he's articulating a little bit more now. He is cooing and babbling most of the time, but it sounds a little bit more articulate. But anyways, they make it to Mandalore. They land, and Mando gets out, and Grogu stays on the ship. And at first, Mando has his helmet on, and he doesn't want to take it off, but, the astromech tests the air and everything, and he takes the helmet off, and he's like, whoa, I can breathe. So Bo-Katan was right. Mandalore isn't cursed. So he goes in, and he's like, hey, don't worry, Grogu. I'm gonna bathe, and I'm gonna come back, whatever. So he goes in, and things don't go too well. So what ends up happening is Grogu goes in, he follows Mando. I mean, I'm not here to recap the episode. I shouldn't be recapping the episode, but this huge giant spider-looking thing, or crab-looking thing, honestly, leaps from under the ground and grabs Mando while he was looking at a helmet. I love the way the Mandalorian helmets look. It really reminds me of medieval armor. And anyway, so this crab creature grabs Mando, and Grogu's already in there. He was worried, so he's in there following, and he's getting scared. Like, what is going on? And the thing takes Mando, and this weird looking creature comes out of it. Literally, one of the most creepy looking Star Wars creatures I've seen. It reminds me, honestly, of like that purple monster in Monsters Inc., but machines infused with it. The thing looks crazy. Like, take General Grievous and the purple monster in Monsters Inc. and up the scary factor. That's what that thing looked like. It was weird. He was injecting things into Mando. I don't know what that was. But what ends up happening is Mando tells, you get a cute little thing of Grogu trying to save Mando, and Mando ends up telling him to run back to Bo-Katan and get help. So Grogu runs over to Bo-Katan. He brings her over, and that whole section, we're getting Grogu's little ears flapping in the wind as he's going on his little pod. I love that, man. He's so cute, and the little pod is functional. It has some utility. It has a little flashlight. So he's leading So when Bo-Katan gets to Mandalore, he's leading Bo-Katan to where Mando is, and he's scared. But he's like, Bo-Katan's like, trying to encourage him, like, don't be scared. You gotta lead me to where Mando is, where your dad is. And he turns on his little flashlight and goes forward, leading the way. That was really cute, man. I really like that. That was nice. And so we get there, and then Bo-Katan picks up the Darksaber and starts using that thing like nothing. I mean, she's obviously had training, right? She was supposed to be the leader, right? She was supposed to be able to use the Darksaber and everything. But she was wielding that thing like Ultimate Gohan with the great sword already. She was like full-fledged fighting with that thing. Didn't need to go to the Kais and get some training. Oh, I didn't mention Bo-Katan's ship. That ship looks nice. I said this about what was the dude's name? I forgot his name in Andor. I really liked his ship. Not Andor's ship, but the guy that recruited him. I forgot his name, man. But that dude's ship, this ship. I love ships that remind me of the Jedi Starfighters. And this reminded me of that. But I love the way it lands. It looks cool. It looks really cool. So we save Mando, and Bo-Katan and Mando are talking as they're walking. And I can't imagine what Bo-Katan must be feeling, being in Mandalore again. And anyway, so they're walking, and we get this big open shot of the entrance to the mines.
The entrance to the mines of Mandalore.
This, my friend, is the home of my cousin Balilor, and they call it a mine. A mine!
And so they enter the mines, and Bo-Katan's essentially being a tour guide, giving a tour to Mando, and so he's there. They get to the living waters, and there's a little plaque on the side, and she's reading it, giving Mando the full tour, and it's talking about the mythosaur, the myth of the mythosaur, Mandalore, the first Mandalorian, Mandalore the Great, taming the mythosaur, right? And it's said to live in these waters. So again, with the whole myth thing, like it's not real. And Bo-Katan doesn't believe in all these old traditions and all that stuff. But I can't help but think that she does have some admiration for Mando for staying true to the roots of Mandalore. He's not even pure blood Mandalorian. She is. He's a foundling. He wasn't even raised on Mandalore. He was raised on, what was it, like a moon or another planet off on the I think it was the moon of Mandalore. I don't remember. They mentioned it in the episode. But I can't help but think that she has some admiration for this guy. Like, he's walking into the waters, full believing in his heart, reciting the verses, and she's just looking back, like looking at him, like, that is my tradition, that is my religion, those are my beliefs of my people. So she has to have, I feel like she has some admiration for Mando, even though she doesn't believe it, but it feels like home, like she's back on Mandalore. She's seeing these traditions, So he's walking in, and he gets pulled down. And so she dives in, and we see the mythosaur. So now, what is myth and what is reality? Are there some validity to our old teachings, our old Mandalorian teachings? These are all questions that she's probably asking herself. I thought this was a myth. The mythosaur is probably a myth. And I just saw it in the living waters. So are these living waters Do they hold something? Like, what's going on? You know, what is myth and what is reality now? So that was the episode, man. I really liked it. A lot happened. You see why we didn't need episode 1? We really didn't need episode 1. Literally, honestly, just a couple of lines from episode 1, and that's it. Just to set things up, and that's it. But man, I love the Grogu stuff. The creature, that crab-looking thing with that creature coming out. I still want to know what was he trying to inject in Mando? What was he actually injecting in Mando? I want to know. Seeing Mando in Mandalore, the cultural difference between Bo-Katan and Mando, a foundling and an actual Mandalorian on Mandalore. I'm liking it, man. And seeing Grogu going on his little adventure, coming back on his mission to go get Bo-Katan and come back. It was cute. I liked it. I liked this episode. This episode was good. Definitely a step up from episode 1. But let me know what you guys thought about the episode down below in the comment section. And I will see you guys in episode 3. Take care.